Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On Tuesday morning, southwest Puerto Rico was struck by a 6.4 magnitude earthquake. That seismic event followed hundreds of smaller quakes that had rattled the region since December 28th. However, Tuesday's quake inflicted enormous damage, causing a school to collapse, killing at least one person, and leaving almost the entire island without power. Indeed, today's Puerto Rico's largest power generation facility, Costa Sur, remains offline as we speak. That power plant is responsible for 40% of electricity generation on the island. Even as of last night, more than 2/3 of Puerto Ricans had no electricity. 250,000 Puerto Ricans were without water. Hundreds of homes were damaged. As of last night, more than 5,200 Puerto Ricans were sleeping on the street, afraid their homes could collapse on them. For the people of Puerto Rico, this natural disaster evokes dark memories seared in our minds of how this administration and the federal government failed, turning a natural disaster into a humanitarian crisis. In 2017, because of this administration's incompetence and indifference, the Puerto Rican people suffered immensely. They endured the longest blackout in American history. 3,000 of our fellow citizens lost their lives. We cannot afford to repeat those mistakes. Sadly, today, this administration's disdain for the people of Puerto Rico remains on full display, this time in the form of previously approved funds that it is withholding. In response to Hurricane Marias and Irma, Congress passed $8.3 billion in HUD relief and mitigation funding, resources that HUD to this day refuses to release. Let me repeat that. The Secretary of HUD is violating the law, scoffing at congressional intent and blocking the people of Puerto Rico from receiving previously approved disaster funds. This comes even after another disaster has stricken the island. We do not know yet how bad the devastation from these earthquakes will be. We also do not know if there will be yet more earthquakes. But this is certain. It is unacceptable, especially now, for Secretary Carson and HUD to stand in the way of Puerto Rico receiving previously allocated assistance, and is also illegal. Mr. Speaker, these are our fellow citizens. They deserve our compassion and our assistance. When wildfires or earthquakes hit California or hurricanes strike Texas, Americans stand together and assist one another. They give each other the helping hand that they deserve. But when it comes to Puerto Rico, this administration instead chooses to stand in the way, to block necessary aid and to put lives at risk. Mr. Speaker, if these funds are not released, and if Puerto Rican people perish in the aftermath of this earthquake, then I have to say that this will be the U.S. federal government that is responsible. We cannot afford further delay. HUD must release these funds immediately, and FEMA must get to work helping Puerto Rico recover from the latest catastrophe. I yield back.